Sean.
Oh, yeah.
I listened to last week's episode and you say parenting weirdly.
I can't say it.
Say it.
Parenting.
What? Say that again.
Parenting.
Oh, God. Right. So the
Parenting.
Paddington, it sounds like an animal.
It does.
Paddington Bear. Yeah.
I tried recording it loads of times and I just couldn't say it.
Okay, so start and see the voice coach in me wants to come out now.
I know.
Teach him how to say it because he's got 6 more episodes of this to do at least. He needs to learn how. He's literally talking about a parenting blog.
Have you ever seen the word written down, Sean? Is this what your problem is? Have you just heard someone else say it?
I don't know why. I never noticed before that I couldn't say it until last week when I was trying to record it, and I was like, I can't say this.
Amazing.
Say parent.
Parent.
Say ting.
Ting.
Put them together.
Parenting.
Where does the ing in the middle come from?
I don't know.
You sound like a fork in a tumble dryer.
Hi folks, welcome to Are We Being Unreasonable? The brand new podcast where comedians and talent from the land of comedy discuss outrageous posts from internet parenting forums. My name is Sean Wilkie, I'm a writer, comedian and filmmaker, and I'll be your host. I'll just quickly introduce our guest for today's episode. We have my co-host Ashley Storrie, as well as comedian Christopher Scott and actress and Burnistoun star Kirsty Strain.
So the first post it's pretty long, so I'm just going to try and get the gist of it. Basically, this person is saying that their next door neighbour, once they give permission for something to be used, they think that it's okay to use it every time. They'll just come over to their shed or garage and just take something without asking. So they own a house in Mexico, and occasionally they allow close friends to go, but that's it. 2 years ago, or 2 years before this, they allowed their sister-in-law and husband and kids and stuff to go over there, and their neighbour found out about it. They apparently went home immediately, found some cheap flights, and then came around and asked if they could go to this house. Basically, he kept on bugging him, and eventually he said, yeah, you can go. About a year later, this guy's best friend's mum went for a holiday to the Mexican house. They found luggage in the hallway, and random people asleep in the beds. So they snuck out of the house and phoned this guy to let him know what was happening. So he called the police, who arrived and woke the strangers. And it turns out, obviously, it's this neighbour who he said he could go there one time. It turns out the guy had made copies of the keys to the house, and had been there 6 times in the last 2 years.
Legit, my family. That's exactly the kind of nonsense that my aunties and uncles would do. I was reading it and I was like, oh, I hope this isn't in Glasgow. That'd be really awkward. It's that awkward thing, isn't it? It's that awkward scaffy thing of just like, hey, you lent me it once, so technically that's rule of thumb, mate.
I just found that despite the fact that this neighbour is horrendous, and I know it's unfair, I find it really hard to feel sorry for someone with a second home in Mexico.
Yeah, me too.
It's like, that must suck for you, that minor inconvenience when, you send friends off to your second home. It's 2 homes, 2 more homes than I have.
He's mansion in a third world country that he's not sharing. What a monster.
It's not a caravan he's got at Craig Tara. It is a house in Mexico.
Like, I've got uncles with a caravan, and literally every single person stays in it. We just have like a wee schedule, and everybody gets a shot. And it would be rude if he didn't give somebody new a shot his caravan. Like, just people, acquaintances he meets in the bus, like, got a caravan at Weems Bay. Do you want a wee shot? That's protocol. So fuck that guy.
Yeah, Weems Bay, of course, is the Mexico of Scotland.
It is.
It's very similar.
I feel like we should clarify we don't know if the house thief was Mexican, because I think when we keep saying the Mexican house thief, I'm imagining like a guy in a sombrero stealing houses. I just like, let's clarify that he's probably Caucasian, because that's that is caucasity at its highest. Is just like expecting to borrow things and not give them back. That's a very white person thing to do.
It's caucasity audacity. The house in Mexico thief. Do you think that makes it a bit clearer? We need to.
That's more woke, I think.
Yes.
Hashtag stay woke, guys.
Person of indeterminate origin thief of a house in
I'm
Mexico.
putting my money on white.
It's definitely honky. Absolutely, no doubt.
But I think that there's an element of the kind of people who just are like living human wombles who will just gather shit and will create their life around it and see no issue with it. And we need people like that. And I get that, I can see there in our logic of, but you have these things and we don't, so why wouldn't you share that with us? But I also see the logic in the man who's worked his whole life to buy his second home in a struggling nation and, not wanting to share that. So I can see both sides of the argument. I feel like we've gone too hard on the guy with two houses. So I'm going to play devil's advocate and be like, oh, poor millionaire.
You have like a story of somebody, do you have like a cheeky neighbour or relative, or are you like a cheeky neighbour or relative?
No, I'm getting into a situation because my neighbour and I don't ask. So I've lived here for 2 years and he just keeps my bins out and I've never asked him to do it. And he started doing my weeps as well. And I'm like, what are you trying to say? Like, am I giving the rest of the street a showing up or something? Like,
how old is this man? What's the vibe? Is there sexual tension?
No, he's tired.
So?
Because it does sound like euphemisms, like he's cutting your grass,
Cutting
your bins out.
Yeah.
Oh yes, my neighbour's cutting my grass.
Yeah. He's just a nice, retired, older gentleman that likes to put your bins out, give you back rubs, just a normal, non-creepy guy. It's fine.
He's looked up on YouTube how to do smear tests. You can pop around there. It's no weird because he's just an old guy, so it's fine.
We never had like a cheeky neighbour or anything, but we did have, when me and my wife first moved in together, we moved into a flat in Glasgow, and we were pretty sure that our next door neighbours, or the building next door to us, was a brothel, because every night through the wall...
You got a hand job?
Kept paying women for sex, and I was like, I think this might be a brothel.
I think it might be. I keep going in, getting my willy sucked and losing 20 quid. So I'm not sure, but I think it might be a brothel. Is that what it is, Sean?
I'm pretty sure it was. There was different people there all the time, making sex noises, standing outside.
Was there a lady standing outside with one side of her skirt pulled up high, showing her thigh, saying, "Hello, boys"?
That would have been a definite sign.
That's a definite sign. Was there Wi-Fi called brothel? There was a girl who I used to be friends with, I'm not friends with anymore. She said to my friend, I'll go to your house and I'll look after your mum and dad's two really little yappy expensive dogs, and I'll look after them while they're on holiday because I need somewhere to stay. And we were like, all right, cool. She's our best pal. We're an inseparable trio. She goes to the pal's house. She has a raging party with all her cool friends that she doesn't invite us to.
Oh, Jesus!
We don't get invited. There's pictures on Facebook of her like hipster pals in my pal's closet wearing all her like furs and funny clothes and stuff. The two dogs are in a kennel. She's just put them in a kennel.
Oh my
God.
God.
She's staying in their fancy house up in the West End of Glasgow for a week. And had we not seen the pictures on somebody else's Facebook, never would have known. Never would have known. She stayed in my house for 6 months, left, never said thank you, never paid a bit of rent, and complained that Mama ate one of her chocolates out of a box she'd kept in the fridge.
Oh, Jesus. Do you know what gets me? It's a massive... See people that have that like front, I'm like, what is life like to you? How do you... I'm fascinated by like the front of folk and how they don't see it. They don't see what they're doing at all. It's like pure cheek.
It must be wondrous to have that lack of self-awareness, to just go about life not realising that people... I walk about, go, that person hates me, that person hates me, that person hates me. See her, we'd walk in a room and there'd be 17 people who fucking hated her, and she'd be like, this is a great time. And I would just be like, how do you live that life? That must be magical. Sean, have you ever borrowed something and not given it back?
From the prostitutes next door.
From the prostitutes.
Actually, that's what we should all do. We should all admit something we've borrowed and never gave back. I've got a potato masher that I borrowed when I was 7 off that girl who had the butt cloth from the last episode.
Butt cloth?
Herb name. I've got a potato masher that I took from her house that I've never returned, and it's like lasted. It's like proper posh utensilry. It's like lasted my whole life.
It's just still got it.
Yeah, I still use it. Like, I'll use it and my mum will go, oh, mine just stole that for that woman's house. And I'm like, hey.
I do borrow things from my mum's house that I've got no intention of giving back.
That's stealing.
That's stealing.
Yeah.
I do that all the time. Mum will buy new before she's them, and then she'll is that man new? I haven't even wore that yet. And then it never gets returned. It just stays. And so she buys stuff and that.
There we go.
It's a great trade. It's a brilliant trade.
See, we started this and everybody was like, no, I've never borrowed something that I've not returned, and now we're all just admitting to robbing our parents.
We'll move on to the second post. So the one about Google just says that their next door neighbours are having a massive fight, screaming, shouting and swearing, saying something about, you're not even fucking signed into Google. The walls are really thin. It's escalating massively. One says you have to sign in and the other is saying you don't. I saw you do it. You're a fucking liar and a cunt. And someone else is screaming, shut the fuck up at both of them. So I just want to know, like, what is the dumbest argument you guys have had?
Can't find it, and I did look for it when you sent me this, but I have a diary entry that I wrote at about 16. I'll just try and recap it for you. My dad has autism and he can just fly off the handle about weird shit, but essentially he tried to say that Hitler was born in Switzerland, and I said no, he was born in Austria, and we didn't have a computer at hand to check that, and I knew I was right and I wouldn't back down from it, and he fell out with me so bad he ran away in America for a whole day. And I know that you're looking at me going, oh, that's actually quite sad and traumatic, Ashley, but it was one of the funniest days of me and my mum's life, just watching my dad walk through a hotel, I think it was in Disney World, like, Hitler was born in Switzerland.
I was going to say, so you were in America, he didn't just run away to America. For
I know, that's what I thought.
For a second.
He ran all the way to America to get away from you. Well, the other thing is if other people are having an argument about the argument, like my parents do, they argue with each other, and then you get my mum tells her version of the argument, my dad tells me his version of the argument separate, and it's totally different. Are you both or something? One of you will, for sure. And I'm in the middle. I don't even care that he's been wearing the same jumper and you want him to take it off. I don't care. Like, do you know what I mean? One has a grievance, one has a, so rather than having together, they tell me the grievance. And it's just like, can you not just talk to each other and tell each other what your problem is?
Are you expected to mediate, or do you get told off if you like try and go between?
Oh, you can't mediate.
No,
that just because then Kirsty said. She said, but she said, she said, and she agreed on this point and that point. You'd be like, sweat, got to be like,
where Hitler wasn't born.
My dumbest argument was with my wife. We were in Amsterdam.
Because you were visiting hookers again?
I know.
I can't remember how we got on the subject, right? But I was basically, and I still stand by it, was saying to her that when you look at the moon, if you put your hands over your eye, like round your eyes, you can see further to see the moon. And she said, no, you only do that with the sun because you're trying to like shade your eyes. But I'm saying it's like when you put your hand around your ear to hear better, you can put your hands around your eyes to see better. And I was convinced of this. I kind of still am.
So you think that works with the hand around the ear? Do you think that's a genuine thing that works?
I don't think that I can actually see further, but I feel like it makes me feel like I can. Like, you can't actually hear any better if you put your hand around your ear. But
well, you can, Sean. You can, because you're creating a cup to catch sound waves.
Well, I'm creating a cup to see the moon.
Vision waves.
Sean, I'm so surprised your wife didn't just leave you then and there in Amsterdam going, no, see if you create a wee telescope with your hands, you can see the moon brighter. I'm surprised she didn't go, you know what, just never mind. I'll just leave it and I'll go find somebody else. This is unbearable.
Someone who doesn't have discussions like a toddler.
That's such a weird thing to get a bee in your bonnet about your moon hands.
I don't even know how it came up. I just... But
it's Amsterdam. I know how this came up.
Rambling conversation.
Yes. Possibly, that's probably how it came up. But I still stand by it. I'm not saying that actually makes me see further, but I do feel like I can see, like I'm more focused on what I'm looking at.
That's literally how Trump people talk. Like, I feel that crime has gone up, even though it's not. I feel like there are more immigrants. You're literally doing right-wing speak right now. You're mental. I feel like the moon is flat and the 5G makes me turn into a rabbit. That's what you're delivering here.
And you keep talking about crime in Mexico. So, very, very Trump-like. It's all coming together now, I think, guys.
So, what, like, petty fights? Like, what's the pettiest thing you've ever done, Sean? What's the pettiest, like, you've ever been? Because we're all capable of being the CEO of petty. What's the pettiest thing you've ever done?
The what?
His wife
Ben?
is chiming in.
A list appears from off screen. There you go.
Defense. So this is an ongoing saga. We wanted to put up slats on our fence, like on our side, so we couldn't see through to flipping budgie smuggler neighbours next door, right, who sit out with their bikinis and their budgie smugglers on. And we asked them, and they said it was okay. So we got the materials and we started putting it up. And then the guy came over and he was like, "No, I'm not happy with it. I want you to put like stuff on your side, basically, to make sure it's not actually on my fence." Blah, blah. After I'd bought everything, and was a total dick about it. So now, out of complete pettiness, I am building my own fence next to his fence.
Yes.
Chris, what's the pettiest thing you've ever done?
I was going down to London to see a band. I was going myself, got my ticket, and I couldn't quite see where it tells you if you're a window seat or a aisle seat. So I could see the number on it. So I'm like, well, it's one of these two. It's pretty empty at the moment. I'll just sit down on one, and if somebody comes up, I'll just move along one. And this guy comes on, sees me sitting there, and he throws down his tickets onto the wee table and throws his bag on the seat kind of opposite and goes, "You're sitting in my seats." And I went,
"Seats?"
I didn't know if I was window or aisle because it can't quite make out in the print there. So, and the guy went, "Look, no, you're sitting in my seats. I'm waiting for my friend to come here. And it's all right because it's dead just now, but if other people are going, you'll need to move because you're in my seats." But because I couldn't see this thing, I'd looked at my ticket and I knew 100% I was in one of these seats. I pick up my book and peer over at his tickets on the table, and they were for a train 20 minutes later. Now, at this point, I had a decision to make. Do I, on this express train to London, with like one stop before it goes down, do I mention that he's on the wrong train and that his friend will not be joining him in this train, or do I put my earphones in, play some music, and continue to read my book? I think we all know exactly what I did. I had an amazing journey as it slowly, I read the same page about 20 times, slowly dawns in his face as the train leaves and his friend isn't there. And he's looking about, he's still not checked the tickets yet. And I'm like, "Oh, come on. Just so sugary sweet, I'm going to get diabetes. Come on." And he picks it up and just silently gets all his stuff and leaves the carriage.
Where did you just go and sit in the toilet? I
don't know if I think it was like one stop or something. So I don't know if he then got off at that one or if he went and found the conductor. But I knew that he was not wanting to have that conversation in front of me. It's sad to say it might be the happiest day of my life.
It's so good, I almost jizzed.
Yeah, it's karma usually doesn't happen that quickly.
Kirsty, when were you the CEO of being petty?
Really lame, especially after that. I'm tragic. The most I've ever done is like hidden the remote or deleted somebody's program off the thing on purpose because they've like not waited for me or whatever.
You monster!
You've saved that up. I've just like that. No, I'm sorry. Oh, really? Did you have not watched that yet? Have you not watched that yet? Watched that?
Fucking hell!
It's not back on. It's not. Or you're gonna have to go and stream it. Oh, I'm so really. I thought I was just saying, "Oh, that's funny. See what happens."
Oh, is that how that's the most brutal?
Aye, that's my heart's pounding at the moment.
I feel like that's worse than the train story.
That's low-key the most brutal because it's like something so simple of, "I've just deleted that last episode that you can't find anywhere else. Oh, well, bye."
Oh, did I? Oh, I'm so sorry. Some Hannibal Lecter shit happening here. This is
very Steve Urkel. Did I do that? That was my impersonation of a show that none of us have seen, but have heard about.
Can you do more of those? Can you do more, like other ones that none of us have seen, but we've all heard of?
Like, Who's the Boss?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, Margaret. I don't know.
Is Margaret the boss?
From like the 1940s or something? It's a 1940s, a period.
I don't. I've just been going about saying, "Oh, Mariana, you're reading a book." because that's what happened to normal people.
Yeah.
And I just keep saying to my mum, I just keep calling her Marianne. I'm like, oh, Marianne eating yogurt. And because that was the level of bullying that woman got in that programme that like destroyed her, apparently, was literally she got bullied at school and it was somebody asking, are you reading a book? Are you eating a yogurt? And she fucking went off on one. It's like, you're mental.
Yeah, she doesn't sound like a normal person. I haven't seen the show. I'm assuming that's probably the whole point.
40 minutes of pumping in total.
I'm listening.
You timed it.
Normal people, we call it. And how long is the episode?
They're 23 to 29 minutes an episode. There's 8 to 10 episodes, 40 minutes of hardcore. Like, you see dick, you don't see vag, but you see dick, you see tit.
Do you not see rapture? You see vag at one point.
You don't
see you see a bit
a hint of vag.
You see the Mowgli cup, you don't see the flaps.
That's true.
Oh my God.
No flaps were on show of that programme.
Right, my pettiest moment, and I'm going to pick carefully because I've done some incredibly cruel and evil things that I could never admit to, but I used to play a game called Frontierville on Facebook, and me and my best friend Vicky were both really fucking into this game, and it was like one of those farm games on your Facebook, and we both had fake accounts that we set up just so we could play this, and like all our friends on it were just Frontierville people, and we were really into it, and we would sign into each other's accounts and like borrow stuff off each other and stuff. But I had saved up all my money to buy winter coats for my Frontierville children, which changed its name to Pioneer Trail. I had saved up all my money to buy these winter coats, and I think I'd put real money into it, and Vicky signed into my account and she stole all my winter coats for my children. So I logged into her account and spent about 10 hours just planting oak trees on every available pixel of land on her farm, so that when she signed on, she'd have to use energy for about 10 weeks just to get rid of all the oak trees. It took like 25 energy to chop down an oak tree, and I planted about 300 oak trees in our bag. Then you're all like, Ashley, that's not normal and that's not impressive. But see, if you're into farming simulation games, you'd know that was a dick move.
It's true what they say. The old West was brutal.
So brutal, babe.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I do like how we all started out really, no, never did anything dodgy or cheeky. We've stole, done petty things. Bad people.
I just think if we're going to be judging these people on mumsnet.com,
yes, we could be judging
we have to first look inward, and then we can call them dicks.
Yeah.
Can we just briefly, because I think it was in last week's and we never got to it, can we briefly talk about the badger?
Yes, we can briefly talk about that.
Badger.
I just want just a wee bit, because that's like, I need to discuss what the fuck is going on with this story with somebody.
It's the guy. It's the fact that she says he's homeless. I'm all worried about the guy now. He's homeless.
For context, this is a story on Mumsnet. They were like, my husband's a homeless man who was looking after the kids. They ate badger. It has to be roadkill, because I looked it up and you can't kill a badger unless it's part of a culling. So you have to,
like as in you can or you're not allowed.
You're not allowed.
They're impossible to defeat in battle.
It depends. I'm also going to just throw in a chance up right now. All the badger fans will know what that's about. One person literally just jizzed in their pants at that. Anyhow, you have to eat a badger. It has to have died of either being hit by a vehicle or like had an overdose or
old age.
Or old age. It can't have been. You can't like hunt a badger. It's illegal to hunt badgers for meat.
But if he's homeless, he's not going to care if he's.
I think that's a really cruel aspersion to cast on the homeless.
Why do you hate the homeless, Kirsty?
I know, I really hate that. Mostly I'm kind of saying it's okay to break the law if you're homeless and hungry. Go and kill a badger. You need it. You need it more than you need. You know what I mean? You need it, son. You break the law. You killed that badger. You need to eat.
It was in the post. It's it's like the reveal that he's homeless is just fucking perfect. It's like, drop the kids off with my ex-husband, or drop the kids off with their dad, and he's fed them a badger. I mean, what's that all about? So they went, what? And he went, oh, I mean, he is homeless and lives off the land. Like, well, what do you expect him? Like, give him 20 quid.
I feel like a homeless badger eater is like a posh homeless person. I don't know why, but in my head, in the hierarchy of homelessness, that's more like a wilderness man than a homeless man.
Right,
It
like rat.
sounds exotic.
Well,
Yeah.
Is he a badger? I don't know.
He
Yeah,
chose
but if you-
badger instead of rat, so
Yeah,
it's exotic
like it'd be like
tastes.
rat. I don't know what would be in between rat and badger. I was going to say cat, but surely
Cat.
that would be. Yeah, you think? Yeah.
I think cat, but
Well,
I think it's because it's clearly a badger's more of like a wildernessy animal. So in my head, he's got like a cool shack that he's built. She's just calling him homeless because he's not living on the grid, but he's actually just like he's like Bear Grylls, essentially.
well, he
It
is because
sounds, like it sounds like a delicacy, badger. They get like a delicacy. You know how some use it? Oh, let's have some ostrich or
Mhm.
partridge or venison. Badger this evening.
Well, she says that he steamed it for 4 hours because he lives in the woods, and then he took them to the Natural History Museum and had the badger in Tupperware and gave him it to us. That is kind of posh homeless to me. Like,
Is it
That's not
Tupperware?
homeless.
He's
That's
the
not
Tupperware.
homeless. He's just a man who's experiencing what it's like. He's like that guy Sean Penn made the film about who died because he needed to go into the wilderness and find himself. He's just one of the men who's could live in a house if he chose to, but has opted to live in his own fashioned hole in the ground, like in The Lovely Bones, except without the child murdering.
If I was a kid, this sounds like the fucking coolest dad in the world.
But they
That
sounded
sounds-
excited. They did sound excited for the post I got. They came in and it sounded as if they were raving, going, Mammy, oh, we had bad and all excited about having ate the badger, and she's freaking out in case they've got some kind
Aye, she's probably like, like worrying, like, I don't want to give them sweets in case it gets them all, excited and numbers. And they go to their dad who lives like Bear Grylls or Rambo, and he, cooks them badger and takes them to a museum, gives them a bit of education as well. That sounds like a cracking day, innit?
He should have full custody, in my opinion.
I'm all for Badger Dad.
Badger Dad is our favourite so far, right? I like there was a comment from some guy. She said something about like being worried about TB. That's badgers obviously carry tuberculosis, and some guy said something like, "Oh, if it's an urban badger, I wouldn't worry about it, but I wouldn't trust a rural badger." How's he gonna? What does this guy know about badgers? What's he been doing? There's a lot of questions I had about this one mysterious badger poster. Who might actually be listening to this and they might have jizzed when Ashley said whatever the fuck that word was earlier on.
Chunts up.
Chunts up.
what does that mean?
I am 112 episodes into a podcast about a badger called Chunt.
Is that really like there's 112 episodes?
No, there's like 300 episodes. I'm only 112 episodes into a podcast about a talking badger called Chunt.
It's a lot of chunting to go. Yeah?
And his catchphrase is chunts up or chunt please.
But that's also it's also this badger's own name.
Yeah.
So his own catchphrase is just like saying stuff about it. Like it would be like me going, Chris up.
Yeah. Also, if anybody wants to see any pictures of hot badgers, follow me on Twitter at Ashley Storrie. I've got a whole folder of pictures of like really banging hot badgers.
What constitutes a hot badger? Yeah, what's a hot badger?
Kirsty, I'll send you a picture after this.
I'm slightly worried I might get too excited.
You probably will, guys. But
once I'm opened up to the world of the badger,
badgers.
Once you go badger, that's bad.
I'm like quickly scrolling for my badger, but that's my goat folder.
You've got a goat folder.
What are the hottest animals out of goats and badgers?
Badgers.
Badgers, right? Okay.
Badgers are like the sexiest of in the animals of Farthing Wood. The badger was the sexiest of the animals. The fox was the hottest. The badger was the second hottest.
Right.
I mean, he was older and wiser, but I've always liked an older man.
That's what I was going to say next.
Rate the hotness of the animals of Farthing Wood.
Right, well, we move on to the acronyms then.
Yeah, because this is not where I'm conversation, to be quite honest.
It would be weirder if you did expect it to go this way. Yeah.
It would be really weird if you were like coming into this going, I hope we talk about Ashley fancying a badger.
So the first one I gave you was DTD. Did anybody want to take a guess?
Down to diddle. Sound
I
like
just
a
thought
beast.
because it was like mum's net, it could be like a thing I won't tell dad.
Oh, that's good.
Oh,
That's good.
oh, Kirsty, that's really sinister.
Don't
Don't tell Daddy.
But I went over to the neighbours last night and he had a badger and I just couldn't help myself.
Don't tell Daddy.
DTD. I had Downton Abbey because I think
Down to
Downton Abbey because I think mums love Downton Abbey and they, they're sitting there with their significant other. DTD.
doing the do or whatever. Doing something.
Doing the deed or
Yeah.
doing the dance.
Oh, doing the deed.
Doing the dirty.
Doing the dirt.
Doing the dirty.
Right, hold on. No, I want to try and get it because I got so close last week. Hold on, right. DTD, dick to dick.
Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of actually, yeah, it's got to be that.
That's what I said. Doing the deed. That's what it
Oh,
was.
is it? Is it doing the deeds?
Yeah.
Oh.
Doing the deed or doing the dance. You were
But
close.
the deeds, admittedly, could be two dicks.
Yeah, could be.
Could be. Fingers crossed, guys.
So number 2 was D and V.
Dick and vag. Dong and vag.
Dong and bad.
Dong and vag. So they sound like a really annoying couple who come round for charades.
And put their keys in a bowl.
Uh-huh. He's of
Aye.
Korean descent and she's like really white and they're called Dong and vag.
Oh my god.
You sound like a 90s pop duo.
She's Dong, I'm vag. We're coming. Buy my badge.
I'm thinking it's Dad and Vans. Dads
Dad
love a
and
van. Dads love a van. Get the arm out the window. Get a van. You need a van? I'll drive a van. You'll love it.
What about you, Kirsty?
I have no idea. I have no one at all. Because of the V, like how many things? What could it be with a V?
Vagina.
Desperate and vigorous, for a description. I'm desperate and vigorous. Give me a chance.
Desperate virgin.
They're all better than what it actually is, which is diarrhea and vomiting.
Oh, that
okay.
makes sense.
Okay.
When you say it out loud, yeah.
And the third one was JFGI.
JF, what?
JFGI.
JF
Just for giggles in it.
Oh, that sounds like it could actually be it. I had Just Forget About It Ireland, just like for Brexit. Just forget about it, Ireland.
Just forget about that.
It's too much trouble. Just forget about it, Ireland. That could be a new policy.
Just forget about it. Just is the first word, right? Okay, just okay. Just fucking get in.
No.
Is it that? The
But
two words?
tell me the letters again.
2 words.
Tell me the letters again.
JFGI.
Just fucking grow. No, just fucking give in.
Which was what you keep saying to those badgers. Give in.
Just fucking get in, badger. Dog and bad.
Come on now, guys. This is I've never got one. Chris, Kirsty, just fucking
Get involved.
Oh, is that it, Sean?
It's not.
Ah!
I did have a post this week that included the word.
So is it related? See that to something?
The next word was actually included on one of the posts this week.
Get, give, go.
Hold on, what did we do? We talked about the
I know,
Mexican
we talked
neighbours.
about-
We talked about the
Google.
fight.
Just fucking Google it.
Just
Yes.
fucking Google it.
That's it. Just fucking Google it.
Just fucking Google it.
Dicks and vag. Woo, woo, woo.
That's what I Google. It's all coming together.
That's the most exciting thing that's ever happened. Well done, Chris.
I am the king of Mum's Net.
10 points to Hufflepuff.
Okay, well,
Oh,
that's us, guys. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
We've already done our hashtag not all badgers.
Hashtag not all Ashleys.
Like not all Ashley.
Hashtag love badger.
Yeah.
Hashtag send me some pictures of hot badgers at Ashley Storrie.
Hashtag fuckable badgers.
I
That's
promise
gotta
you,
be-
you're going to go on my Twitter as soon as we're done. I'm going to tweet
you're
something out and you're going to be like, oh no, I totally get what she's saying.
You know what? Actually, now that I see it, I'd fuck that badger. Yep. Boy's my face red.
It's a whole new world. My eyes are well and truly open now, that's for sure.
Right.
Next week's episode, we will be rating how hot the animals of Farthenwood were. So please do get in touch and tell us who you think was the most fuckable of the animals of Farthenwood.
This is
Hashtag RIP the hedgehog family. Whatever.
Okay, that seems like a good note to end on. Thanks very much, guys.
Magic. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you.
Good to see you
Cheers.
guys.
See you guys. Bye.
Thanks for listening, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please give us a review on whichever podcast platform you're using. If you give us a like and subscribe and share the show on your social media platforms, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook at AWBU Podcast. Thanks for listening, guys. I'll see you next time.